This is Rebel Therapist, a podcast for entrepreneurs who are trained as therapists and who want to level up their businesses, make a bigger impact, feel fulfilled, and be very well paid. I'm your host, Annie Schusler. Hey there, we're going to jump right into the episode, but first, I want to invite you to a live event, an open house Q&A that I'm hosting on June 1st. And this is an opportunity to ask me anything, to bring your questions about moving beyond private practice, creating your signature program, your questions about niching, about program design, about pricing, all of that. And I'm going to be talking about Create Your Program, which is my 8-week process to help you create your signature program beyond private practice. And it's a process that helps you create that program and sell that program. So come to the open house. You're going to register at rebeltherapist.me/open. I would love to see you there. So go ahead and grab your seat. And there will be limited spots to that open house. So please go ahead and grab your seat now. And I have a special offer for you. So I'm going to be opening up the doors to Create Your Program just for a week between May 31st and June 6th, which is a Monday. And during that short registration period, if you sign up then, you get over 2 months of extra access to Create Your Program before the live calls begin in August. So this early access is a really good fit for you if you'd like to be able to spend some more time with all of the curriculum, all the videos, the worksheets, all of those lessons. You want to spend some more time with them before live calls begin so that you can work at your pace, not feel rushed, start getting your questions ready. There will not be any coaching in those 2+ months before the live calls begin. So this would be a couple months for you to get cozy with the material, settle in, and get some great work done before we start the live calls. You also, if you sign up between May 31st and June 6th, you get a 5-month payment plan at no extra cost. So that's going to be available May 31st to June 6th. All right, now I'm going to dive into the question, what if someone asks for a refund? All right, don't take any of this, of what I'm about to say, as legal advice. Talk to legal experts about legal advice. I actually bring guest experts into my program who are legal experts because that is not my thing, and it's a really important part of building your program. So don't look to me for the legal stuff, although I have it built into my program. Just not by me. We bring in these awesome lawyers to answer your questions. Okay, someone's asking for a refund. What do? First thing is you need to let yourself feel it. Whatever this is bringing up for you, feel it, let it move through you, and don't try to make any decisions if you're upset in the moment. Just let it move through you. And then when you're ready, look at the particular situation. And then you're going to make a decision about this particular situation. And then we're going to look at your policies and see if there's something to clean up there. And then we're also going to look at your registration and onboarding process and your sales process and see if there's anything to clean up there to make this less likely or to make it just happen less often. So in the moment, you got to feel it. You got to let yourself feel the sting, whatever that may be. See what stories you're telling yourself and see if any of these stories are bullshit. And if you're giving too much weight to this particular situation or this particular person, because you likely are if you're feeling really stung. Talk to your business coach or talk to your colleagues who are also entrepreneurs. And then when you're ready, when you've processed through it emotionally, you're going to make a decision of what to do in this particular situation. You're going to analyze and solve this situation quickly. So let's back up for a moment and see, what are they unhappy about, or why is it that they're asking for a refund? Did they have realistic expectations about what would happen in your program, what they would be able to accomplish? Is that where it went wrong? Or are they just saying life got in the way and they just don't really want this anymore? Or do they have some kind of criticism about the program, something that they're upset about? Is there something different that's actually happening in your program than what they could reasonably have expected? Or is it just a terrible fit, even though you both thought it would work and really they had all the information they needed, but it is just a terrible fit between the two of you or between them and your program? I want to encourage you to resist pathologizing this person. Resist saying like, oh, this person's such a jerk, such an idiot, or, they're ridiculous. You've already moved through the initial sting emotionally. And so now try and just look at this situation with a little bit of distance. Now, if you have a policy in place, if you have a refund policy in place and they signed it or they acknowledged it in some kind of way, I would remind them of that. I would remind them of what the refund policy is. And I would follow that policy unless you have a really good reason not to. And I would not include the reason of you wanting everyone to like you at all times. So if you're thinking of giving this person a refund because you want them to like you and you want everyone to like you, you may want to reconsider that and go ahead and follow the policy. Now, if you don't have a policy, then ask them what would make them comfortable in this situation and consider doing that. And now you're about to come up with a policy so that you'll have one for next time. There's some different approaches to refunds, to refund policies. So we can think of it as a continuum of very liberal on one side, where you give a refund at any time for any reason. And then on the other side of the continuum would be a no refund policy, no refunds at any time. So then there are refund policies that are more in the middle. So one example of a refund policy that's in the middle would be if you withdraw by this particular date, like 1 week before the program starts, you get this much of a refund. If you withdraw by this date, you get this much of a refund, and you really spell it out very clearly how much they're going to get depending on when they withdraw. Another example of a refund that's somewhere in the middle of that continuum is if you participate in this number of calls, you do this much of your quote unquote homework, and then you show your work and you're still unhappy, you can have a refund of whatever amount. So those are some, you can get creative and look at what works for you and your program and your participants, but there are ways to do refunds at different spots on that continuum of very liberal all the way to like no refunds. Some reasons to have a really liberal policy would be that it makes it easier for people to say yes to a program if they know they can absolutely get a refund at any time. So that's a reason I've heard people give for having a really liberal refund policy. Usually programs that are set up like this have a lot of refunds, and that's really built into the business model. So they're offering liberal refunds because they're making it so easy for people to get refunds. Some people are signing up without really making a decision that they are going to stick with. They're signing up with the intention that they very well may get a refund. So even if it's a great program, if you've got a really liberal refund policy and you advertise that, you're likely to have a lot of refunds. And so you've got to build that into your business model, into your prices. So like, for example, if you've got a program that's got room for 10 people and you have a really liberal refund policy, maybe you're going to have 20 to 30% of people drop out and ask for refunds. And so you need to make sure that you're going to make enough money and you're going to have enough people to suit your needs if you've only got 7 or 8 people in that program. I hope that math is making sense. It's like you got to build it for the kind of refund policy that you're giving. Some reasons not, I'm kind of already hinting at this, but some reasons not to have a really liberal policy, some reasons why you might want to have a no refund policy or a very few refund policy is if you need a consistent group of committed people to have a great program. So if you need to have people sign up who are highly invested, because in that case, there's going to be more safety in the group and the whole group is going to be more motivated, that would be one reason to not have refunds or have refunds in a very specific situation. Or if you have a limited number of spots. So like I was talking about, if you have a program that's built for 10 people and you really want to have 10 people in there, you can't also have a really liberal refund policy and cap it at 10. You would then need to say, accept 13 people, but expect 10 to stay. But then maybe you'll end up with 13. So this is a reason not to have a really liberal policy, is that like you've got a cap on your number of spots. You'd rather that someone else takes that spot who is going to stay. Another reason is you just don't want to build a lot of refunds into your business model. So you'd rather kind of know who you're going to be working with and not spend a lot of time or energy on refunds. Another reason is you want people to spend some time and energy in making their choice about whether to sign up or not. And if they know that they're not going to be getting a refund, they may be spending more time and more energy and like getting their questions answered before they signed up. So for me, in my program, the reason I don't give refunds is I really want everyone there to be committed, and that changes the tone of the entire group. So I don't want people to sign up with the idea of maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll back out. I would really rather that people take that time and take that responsibility for that decision. And that's a really good fit for this particular program. So let's say you've got your refund policy figured out. You've figured out whether you're going to be on the liberal side of things, or you're going to have a no refund policy, or you're going to be somewhere in the middle with a specific refund policy. And you want to decrease requests for refunds, because you could get a request for a refund no matter what your policy is. So how to get less requests for refunds and just kind of have less unhappy people. So obviously that one first thing is have a really clear policy. Being clear is kind. Being clear is something that allows people to know what they're stepping into. So that's one really good way. But also have really clear expectations of what the program is, who it's for, who it's not for, what the structure looks like, what the transformation is, the work required, all of those things, and really share all of that multiple times. So I'll go through some of that a little slower. In your sales and registration process, you want to make sure these things are really clear more than once. What's your program outcome? Like, what are people going to walk away having accomplished? If they're a great fit for it, and if they go through the steps of it, what is that outcome? Who is it for? What kind of spot in their life do they need to be in? Or what is the situation they need to be dealing with for this to be a really good fit for them? And then who is this not for? What are the things that you know this person is not going to be happy in this program? And the program's not going to be happy with them, like it's not going to be a good fit. Spell that out. Also, what's the work and responsibility on their part? In order to get that outcome, how much work are they going to need to do? What kind of responsibility are they taking on in doing this program or walking through this offer? Is there a lot of work they need to do between sessions? Is there a particular way they need to show up for sessions? Like, what is the responsibility that they're taking on? What are you available for in this program, and how are you available? Making that really clear. When the calls are, if there are calls, if there's some kind of interaction between calls, how often, really spell out what you're available for and how you're available. And then also, what are you like? What's your personality and your style like? And do they have a chance to kind of get a load of you, how you think, how you behave, how you talk, so that they're going to know whether or not you're their cup of tea? I think that really helps. And also, who else is likely to be there as a participant? Have you made it clear the kinds of values, the kinds of qualities that folks who sign up for this program tend to have? Really, overall, just tell people the total truth about your approach, who this program's for, who tends to thrive in it, and who doesn't, and call out anything that you hear people saying who are thinking of signing up for your offering. Call out anything you hear them saying that sounds unrealistic. So like if I hear people saying, I want to set up a passive income offer and I want it to be, bringing in $20,000 a month by the end of the year. I don't have an audience now and I don't like marketing and I'm not intending to do any marketing. I'm going to say, I don't know how to help you do that. That's not what this program is going to be able to help you do. And I'm going to try to convince that person to not sign up. I'm not going to just try to convince them. I'm going to have a conversation with them to let them know I'm not going to be able to provide that for you in this program. Here's how we do it instead. And then we'll have a conversation to see if that's something that appeals to them. Now, if you do sales calls, you might be particularly at risk for this. If you do one-on-one sales calls, which is not a bad thing to do, it can be a great thing to do, but don't make the mistake of trying to figure out what anyone you're talking to at that moment wants and then tell them you can provide it and then find yourself stuck running something that is impossible and disappoints everyone. And this can happen to healers and therapists because we tend to be really good at attuning to people. And so it's great to attune, but be really clear about what you're offering, your program does, and what the outcomes are. And don't accidentally try to tell them what they want to hear. Some other things you can do to help you weed out people or help them weed themselves out who are not going to be happy in your program is notice, what does someone who's not a great fit tend to say? And so I give you one example. If someone were to tell me, I want to create passive income, no marketing, no audience, real quick, I would say, not a great fit. This program is not a good fit for you. Another one that I recently added to my registration page was, you're not a great fit for this if you've worked with 10 business coaches and you found none of them at all helpful. Because there's a high likelihood that you're not going to find me helpful either. And if you have worked with 10 business coaches and you found some helpful things here and there, but they weren't quite the right fit, that's fine. Let's see if I might be the right fit. But for someone who's just saying everybody out there sucks, and so I want to work with you, nobody's done anything helpful for me so far, I would question, I might not be the right fit for you either. Even with all of that, even with really educating people about your program, making sure they have plenty of places to learn about your program while they're signing up, still, sometimes you're just going to have a terrible fit. And that doesn't make you terrible and it doesn't make them terrible. So a couple years ago, I had a first call of my program where a lot of people were expressing like delight and relief and really feeling like I'm in the right place. I'm so excited to be with you all. I'm so excited to be in this process. And there was one person who was just horrified and I could see it on their face. And somehow they had gotten through the registration and the onboarding process without getting a sense of my style, the outcome the program is going for, the work it takes to get to that outcome. And they were just looking for something very different. And so we had a conversation after the call and I let them withdraw and I gave them a lot of their money back. So even though that's outside of my official policy, that was what I did. So when that happens, and this is what I did after I got over the sting, after I got over taking it personally, look at the process that they walked through and see if there's anything missing. See if there's anything you can change to educate people who are registering and onboarding even better, and go ahead and make those changes. And you'll have less of a chance of that happening again. Now, on the other hand, we've been talking about like someone's just not a good fit. This isn't a good fit program for them. But if you've messed up in some way and someone's asking for a refund, take responsibility for that 100%. Doesn't make you a bad person, but take responsibility for it. So like recently, one of the tech platforms I use, something I use to run webinars, it did not record. It usually does, but it didn't. And that was their fault. And they acknowledged it. And I asked for a month's refund. And they said, no, we'll give you half a month's refund. And I can afford to pay full price on this platform, but I found it really irritating. I feel like if a business makes a mistake, the business should take responsibility for that. So that irritates me. I think it irritates a lot of people when that happens. On the other hand, I have signed up for self-paced online courses that I didn't do. I didn't do all the work, or in some cases, I did barely any of the work. I signed up and then I didn't do the work and I was disappointed. But I am not going to ask for a refund in that situation. That is completely on me. So, two very different situations. So again, I want to encourage you not to give refunds all the time just to make everybody happy. I want you to think about creating and providing an incredible program. So thinking about overall, what kind of a refund policy is going to help you create the most incredible program for the participants who are a great fit for it. So giving everyone refunds, no question asked, might actually make your program worse. So think about that as you're making the decision. It may end up having a lot of people sign up who are ambivalent, which may then lower the quality of the experience for everybody. So I say that because I know you're a really caring person who's listening to this. And so you might on first thought say, I want to be kind. I want to give a ton of refunds. No questions asked. So I want to encourage you to think on this more bird's eye view level of what will help you give the best experience to the people who you want to work with. So we don't want to give refunds just to make everybody happy. We know that does not necessarily work. But what we can take responsibility for is delivering an incredible program. So delivering great curriculum, if you've got a program that includes curriculum, providing excellent coaching, excellent guidance, providing a structure and a container that really allows for the transformation that it's meant for. So that is something you can put your energy into to not necessarily always make everybody happy at all times, but to have a lot of very satisfied people. Okay, one more note about this. Let's say you got a payment plan and your payment plan is perhaps as long as your program or even longer than your program. It's really important as you're onboarding people, as people are registering, that you're being clear that a payment plan is not a subscription. If you're really clear about that, I think it can work really well to have a payment plan. And it's worked really well for me. So I've actually only had one person ever quit partway through a payment plan, even though my payment plan has at times been longer than my program. And, I still don't know what happened to this person. I'm really definitely much more worried about them than me. And I think the reason that has worked for me over the years is because I've made it really clear that it's a commitment to pay the whole amount, no differently than if you paid it all up front. So you want to have that clarity so that having a payment plan doesn't mean having people drop out as if they thought they were part of a subscription membership or something like that. Okay, I can't wait to hear what you think of this. I can't wait to hear what kinds of changes you want to make to your refund policy or what kinds of refund policies are working well for you that I didn't even name. All right, and real quick before I say goodbye, I want you to sign up for an open house that I'm hosting on June 1st. So head over to rebeltherapist.me/open and sign up, grab your seat. You will get a replay if you sign up. And this is just a great chance to ask me anything about expanding beyond private practice and how Create Your Program works. And remember, you got one opportunity to sign up for early access to Create Your Program, and that's between May 31st and June 6th. So if you sign up then, you're going to have 2 extra months to go through the curriculum before live calls start. You get an extra long payment plan, which we've just clarified is not the same thing as a subscription, but you already get that. And to register for Create Your Program, go to rebeltherapist.me/create. All right, thank you so much for listening. Let me know what landed. Let me know what you disagree with. And I want to thank Cosmo Palms for editing this podcast, as always, and I so appreciate you listening. All right, I'll see you next time.